Hi guys, it's Dan, and in this video we're going to be looking over the next part of our corrective exercise series for the upper body. So we've done the release technique videos in the previous section. Now we're going to be looking at the self-mobilisation technique. So these are really quite cool, these ones. Definitely don't get used as much as I'd like to see. I think these are really fitting really nicely. Definitely can make a big difference if we do them and we're doing them consistently, we're doing well. Because what we're going to do here is try and get a little bit of joint motion, okay, in the thoracic spine. So that's going to be in this part. So using this model right here. So we're going to be looking at this part of the spine just here, okay, because as I said, this part of the spine can get quite restricted in upper body dysfunction. They can get quite locked up. And what we're trying to do is get a little bit of motion between these little joints. So all the way through your spine between the vertebrae, you've got what we call facet joints, so which are responsible for the flexing and extending and side bending and rotating. They all just move on top of each other, just like this. A little bit exaggerated because this is obviously just a model, but they bend, they extend, they side bend, they rotate, and these joints can get quite stiff, quite locked up. So once we've done the release technique, those release techniques, which can restrict these joints, once that muscular tension is gone, after we've done those techniques, now we've got a little bit of play now, a little bit of room to try and mobilise these joints before we start stretching and doing the strengthening techniques. So this is what we want to do next. And it kind of simulates a little bit of like what you'd get if you were seeing a manual therapist, like a physio or an osteopath or a chiropractor. I'm not talking about the high velocity thrusts where they thrust really quick and you get those big clicks and cracks. These are much more gentle, softer osseous mobilisations that we can kind of recreate ourselves. Now what you might notice, you might get a few little pops and cracks, some spontaneous, what we call like a spontaneous cavitation. That's totally normal. All that's happening there is just releases of gas. That's totally fine, that's totally normal. If you do notice, if you were to notice any pain, I would then go and see a practitioner, but usually for most of the time that would not be the case. But if you did notice any pain or discomfort, I probably would go see someone. But these are very safe, these are very low risk, these aren't going to cause any damage because they're not forceful, they're quite gentle. And all we're trying to do is just create a little bit of space there. But like I said, you might get a few pops and cracks. All that's confirming to us is that we've got a bit more movement at that segment, at that joint. We've just had a bit of release. We've just caused a bit of a cavitation there, which is perfectly normal, and that is kind of that is the aim, that is what we're trying to do, because we are trying to improve range of motion at these joints. So that's what we're trying to do. So there's a few we can do with this one. The one I do prefer most, I'm going to show you that one next. I'll show that one first, and then I'll show you some alternative ones if we don't quite like that one, or just other ones we can do. So what we're going to do first, I'm just going to move this one back just a little bit, just so it's not in our way. We're going to try and get a bit of rotation, because again we can lose a lot of rotation in the thoracic spine, and also extension as well. So we want to try and get that back. So what we're going to do, so move that roller, is you're going to go into this position here. So you're going to sit here and sit your backside just on towards your heels, and if you need to, if that's a bit uncomfortable, you can get like a roller or a few towels or a pillow. Just sit back onto it. If you need a bit more range of motion, you can do that. And what we're going to do from here, okay, is sitting into this position will lock up the lumbar spine, because we don't want the lumbar spine to move. It's not very good at rotating, not something we really want to force. So by doing this, we take that out of the equation and we can focus on the thoracic spine. So what we're going to do, if I was going to do my right side, I'm going to put my left elbow between my knees, and I want to try and keep the left part of my rib cage against my left thigh, because I don't want this coming away. I want this to stay locked in. I'm going to reach my fingertips to my opposite ear. So if I'm doing my right, my left ear, I'm going to start here. I'm just going to rotate upwards, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to rotate upwards and keeping my rib cage against my thigh. Come back, rotate upwards. And what I'm trying to do is try and get which you can see I'm quite poor at. I'm a little out of practice, guys. I need to do this one a bit more. Is try and get my elbow pointing up towards the sky. So that would be the aim, or as close to it as we can. Okay, and we're not trying to force that. Just go to where you can. Go to where you get that resistance, which mine is right there. hold it for a couple of seconds, come back. As you can see, I need to do a bit more of this. Come back up, hold it for a couple of seconds, come back down again. And that's all we're doing, okay? Now if that's a little uncomfortable to put the arm in that position, which it can be, we can put the hand here on the opposite shoulder, and it's not going to get as much movement, but we can do this. Try and rotate for a bit more of a short lever through the spine that way. So keep this hand on the opposite shoulder, rotate through that way. That's another way we can do it, okay?